If you're curious about the type of classes or curriculum that we offer, one category would be this first bullet, which is planning, analysis, design, and other review of civil-oriented balance of plant components or BOP components. So, we do teach all the basics on the power end. For example, like renewable energy generates electricity. And then we also kind of talk about how all that electricity has to go through various different things called the balance of plants to get to the end user. So all that electricity has to flow, transmission lines, substations, and things like that. So we do have classes that talk not only about just the general planning, but we really do go into kind of the environmental permitting and things like that that are rather important for engineers to know to work on these types of projects. We also hit it from the construction aspect. We have various energy projects that we talk about. Some of my favorites are nuclear and enhanced geothermal. Of course, we do solar and wind as well. But we do talk about some of the more heavily used things that are ramping down, kind of like the fossil fuel plants that are out there. We're really focusing on natural gas lately, and we're trying to get away from fossil fuels, as you might know. So we'll talk about the construction aspects of all these different types of energy infrastructure plants, and then we'll also talk about, the basics of how all that electricity goes from point A to point B, talking about transmission systems and things like that. So we have a pretty big construction focus in this curriculum. We also have an environmental and safety type components in most of our classes. So again, I mentioned about permitting, EIS, and things like, environmental impact statements that come with these types of projects. We'll also talk about safety, because climate change is happening, and we're noticing that, due to these impacts, there's going to be some kind of safety concerns related to infrastructure, especially like high heat, and, certain types of colored surfaces might be better than the others. So we are now also looking into the changing climate and how we need to be more mindful, I think, of how we design our infrastructure associated with that. And then the last two things to really talk about is operating principles. I just mentioned how we have somebody named Mark Kirschenbaum that talks about power plant operations. So we have a few of these types of classes that'll talk about the operating principles of dams, hydro dams, general power plants, wind turbines, solar, geothermal. I'm probably missing a few there, but really more on the operations side of what it takes, how much energy they're able to kind of produce, is it what we call baseline, base load capacity, and things like that. The last topic on this slide is elements of project management. So this is a lot where, now we're kind of stepping away from how things operate and how things are planned. So the other important parts about being part of a project is that these are projects, right? So we need to manage schedules, we need to manage estimates of energy projects, and then also accounting and financing. So if you were to start or maybe working for a smaller firm, you can also understand that there are classes that talk about how you can get upfront capital and financing so a small company can go out and get those jobs. And then also, we find it very important to talk about the law aspect of all of these types of projects. So, you can get into talk about disputes, claims, liens, torts, and all of these different things that we should be kind of mindful in running these types of projects.